Welcome to another episode of the Jampack Report, today for December the 9th of 2020, day 344 of 2020 if you are keeping track, which means yesterday was 343 day, and with that came some very big news from the team at 343 Industries, because Halo Infinite now has a launch window of fall 2021. Halo Infinite, the next game in Microsoft's iconic franchise, will officially launch in fall 2021, developer 343 announced in a blog post on Tuesday. The game was originally supposed to launch alongside the Xbox Series X and S in November, but it was delayed to 2021 in August due in part to challenges created by the COVID-19 pandemic. Since Microsoft has not specified a month or day, this fall 2021 window could effectively mean that the game gets delayed as much as an entire year from its original release date. Microsoft did demo Halo Infinite during its July Xbox Series X game showcase, but received some criticism for the graphics and visuals shown during the demo. A dead-eyed enemy shown then even spawned the now famous Craig meme. In Tuesday's blog post, 343 Industries said that it is working hard to create the best looking Halo game ever and spend some time delving into graphics specifically. According to creative director Joseph Staten, it's already possible to play through the entire campaign, so much of the work remaining is polish, fixing bugs, and multiplayer, and of course you can read more in the official Inside Infinite blog. This is round number 1, and of course there's plenty to dive into here, but I did want to show some of the artwork, and actually screenshots, not even artwork, literal screenshots from a multiplayer map with a work in progress stamp on it. But here are some of essentially the images of what you can expect whenever the game does launch next year. And again, I want to make it very clear, this is a screenshot. This is what you are going to be getting in game. And specifically this shot right here really blew me away and really impressed me. For audio listeners, essentially you see very well done shadows. Ultimately, a game that looks more akin to something like a Halo 5 or a Halo 4 more so than Halo Infinite that we saw in July. It's clear that so much work has already been done to improve this game, and I'm really excited to see what they come up with. On top of that, they reveal more about customization, and you can see some screenshots of that here, but the blog goes very in-depth with all of this information. If you are interested in Halo Infinite, I would absolutely recommend diving in and giving it a read. But ultimately, the game looks like it is improving in a very big way. Specifically, this last screenshot actually calls back to one of the images that I think we all kind of remember from the official reveal in July, and you can see by and far this is a much better looking game. Now, of course, I want to see it running, I want to see this being played, but Joseph Staten has said that he played through the game twice in the first few weeks that he was there, or I should say the first few days that he was there, and that means the game is complete. As the article said, it is essentially at this polishing phase as of right now. So I'm looking forward to seeing more over the course of the next 12 months. They're also going to be doing the flighting programs yet again, so you will be able to dive in, have alphas and betas, and really get started with Halo Infinite before its launch in fall of 2021. Now, next year is a very big year for the Halo franchise. It is the 20th anniversary. It's going to have been 20 years since the launch of Halo Combat Evolved on the Xbox. And so, in my opinion, I understand the importance of having a Halo game to launch a console, specifically an Xbox, obviously, because the entire marketing team was kind of revolving around Master Chief. You see it on the back of the Xbox Series X box. You see it in all of the marketing materials, these Butterfinger ads that we're all getting on Twitch. There are so many elements that have kind of been dropped because of the fact that Halo Infinite has been delayed, but this feels right. The game, from the screenshots we have seen, looks great. We're coming up on the 20th anniversary, a very important anniversary in the world of Halo. It just feels like this game should have come out in 2021 to begin with. And again, like I said, I understand the urgency. I understand the need to launch it alongside a new Xbox, but I'd be remiss to say that I'm not a bit pleased about the fact that it is going to be coming at or around the 20th anniversary of one of my favorite franchises of all time. But of course, speaking of a company related to Halo in some kind of way, shape, or form in another life, Bungie has confirmed that Destiny 2 crossplay is coming in 2021. Bungie has confirmed D2 will be getting crossplay support at some point next year. While Bungie did not specify which platforms will support the feature, hopefully you'll be able to dive into Destiny 2 with players across every platform on which the game is available, including PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series X and S, PC, and Stadia. Earlier this year, it seemed as though a 2021 launch date for crossplay was the goal, but Bungie was more definite about a launch next year in a blog post published on Tuesday. Bungie has slowly been making the game more platform agnostic. The studio added cross-save support, which lets you bring your save from one platform to another in 2019, and alongside the next-gen update for the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S that came out yesterday, the game will support cross-generation play, meaning that PS5 players will still be able to play with people on PS4, for example. The next-gen update also allows the game to run at up to 60 FPS at 4K on the PS5 and Series X, and adds an FOV slider along with improved loading times. However, Destiny 2 still does not have full anti-cheat on PC, and if Bungie does not implement stricter anti-cheating measures before the launch of crossplay, console players may run into cheaters if they're able to play with people on PC. This last chunk right here is very, very important because although I'm not a Destiny player, I do watch a good bit of it, and I'm kind of tuned into the community. For some reason, I got trapped in that little area on Twitch, and I never quite made my way out. But ultimately, they really need to implement some kind of anti-cheating measure because of this cross-play feature that's coming. And specifically, in general, it doesn't make it any more fun for PC players that just play on PC exclusively. Cheating is never fun. But ultimately, this is a very big win because it, number one, expands the player base. Number two, it allows people to essentially play with whoever they want. So if I have an Xbox Series X, which I do, and my friends get a PlayStation 5, or my friend doesn't upgrade at all and sticks with a PS4 or an Xbox One, or I have one friend that has Google Stadia, whatever it might be, to be able to just get on and raid with somebody or a group of people, regardless of their platform, is a very, very big asset whenever you're talking about what keeps me coming back to a game over and over again. Now, on top of that, the patch has been received overwhelmingly well. People love Destiny 2 on next gen. Of course, this, for many console players, is the first time they're experiencing a game with 60 FPS in this kind of way, because it is just this incredible experience. It really is. You crank up the FOV, you have it running at 4K 60, you have so many little bells and whistles here that really do add such a level of pleasure. I don't know how else to put it. I love being able to have PC features on consoles. I have loved being able to crank the FOV in the Halo games on my Xbox Series X. It's very freeing, and it's something that I wish we had had a very long time ago. But ultimately, Destiny 2 is getting crossplay, which is phenomenal for the player base. Now, some negative news. Ubisoft's Prince of Persia remake has been delayed. Originally supposed to come out in January, it has now been delayed to a later date of March 18th of 2021. The titular Prince of Persia may be able to control time, but Ubisoft cannot. Unfortunately, that means the publisher needs a couple of extra months to complete its remake of The Sands of Time. Ubisoft's first revealed the delay through a post on its official Czech Republic page. The post has since been deleted, but members of Reset Era and NeoGAF were able to copy and translate the text before its removal. Quote, we need more time to complete the game, the post explained. With that, the release date of Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake has been moved to March 18th of 2021. We believe this is the right decision to ensure we deliver a game you like. The title was previously set to come out in January. The Sands of Time remake was officially revealed during Ubisoft's Forward Showcase in September, and as the name suggests, it's a revamp of the classic platformer from 03. That entry was also a reboot of the Prince of Persia series that started in 1989. The game was popular enough to spawn a flurry of sequels and a movie adaptation featuring Jake Gyllenhaal. There has not been a proper Prince of Persia game since 2010's The Forgotten Sands, however. Excitement was high for the Sands of Time remake, but initial trailers, which showed only so-so visuals, have left fans feeling cold. Now that's a remake that needs a remake, one YouTube commenter wrote in September. Hopefully Ubisoft will put the extra time to good use. I agree with this. I checked out the trailer whenever it was announced back in September, and it doesn't look good. I mean, quite frankly, it looks like a PS3 game. And you can go back and check out the trailer for yourself, but the fact that this is delayed is good. I will wait to see what the final product looks like, I suppose is the best way to put that. But of course, the game itself, The Sands of Time, is kind of one of those platformers that everybody played growing up, or at least it's kind of a notable name that many people are familiar with in the gaming industry, so it definitely warrants a remake, but a remake that's done well, and this one that was coming out in January does not seem to be the one that fans expected. But something that fans could have expected is that Blizzard has a very good WoW expansion in 2020, and it turns out Shadowlands is that, and on top of that, it's the fastest selling PC game of all time. World of Warcraft's 8th expansion sold through more than 3.7 million units globally on its first full day of launch. Shadowlands was originally set for release on the 27th of October, but was delayed until the 23rd of November, the 16th anniversary of the release of the original groundbreaking MMO. The previous record holder was another Blizzard game, Diablo 3, which sold through more than 3.5 million copies on its first day of release. Clearly, Shadowlands is a success. Blizzard said in the month leading up to the expansion's release that the time since launch, World of Warcraft reached and has sustained its highest number of players on monthly or longer-term subscriptions compared to the same period ahead of and following any WoW expansion in the past decade in both the East and the West. In short, players have spent more time in Azeroth year to date than in the same period of any of the last 10 years. Total player time in game this year to date has nearly doubled compared to the same period last year, so WoW continues to thrive. Now, of course, I'm not a WoW player. I have actually dabbled from time to time, but it just never really grabbed my interest. But it's one of those legendary franchises that people keep coming back to time and time again. And Shadowlands, while it does have its faults from what I have heard, seems to be a relatively solid expansion that has kind of set the foundation for where the game goes forward to. And so again, if you want to dive back in, there's never a better time to play WoW than at the launch of a new expansion. So hey, you can dive back in if you do so choose. Now, today, technically, is the launch day for Cyberpunk 2077, but Cyberpunk 2077 on Xbox Series X lets you choose between resolution and performance. PS5 does not. This is a report. Now, I want to make it very clear. There is a lot of change that is going to happen to Cyberpunk in the next 24 hours. We've seen reviews of the PC version of the game, which had plenty of bugs. We've now seen a couple of reviews, or at least impressions, of a console version of the game that also has plenty of bugs, but day one patches are on the way, which means that a lot of fixes are going to be implemented. So the fact that this might not be a feature that's available on the PS5, that doesn't mean that it's not coming very, very soon. So take what this article says with a grain of salt. But console versions of Cyberpunk 2077 are finally making their way out of the press, and it appears there is one big option available only to Series X. According to VGC, when testing the Xbox One and PS4 versions of Cyberpunk 2077, which are compatible on the Series X and S and PS5 respectively, the site spotted a choice between playing on a higher resolution or smoother performance on Series X. The PS4 version of Cyberpunk appears to default to 60 FPS on PlayStation 5, said VGC's Andy Robinson. But there is seemingly no option to sacrifice frame rate for a higher resolution like on Xbox's next-gen console. A Reddit post from someone who managed to get a hold of the Xbox One version of CD Projekt Red's sci-fi RPG ahead of its street date has also confirmed that the Series X allowed you to choose the option between resolution and performance. Many assumed this would be the case on PS5 too. This disparity, however, is not an exception. Robinson also notes that a number of other games, including Star Wars Squadrons, Call of Duty Warzone, and Rocket League, had recently received performance updates on the Series X, but not the PS5. This is likely down to how much more integrated Microsoft's backward compatibility support is. In a Eurogamer interview, Rocket League developer Psyonix said, quote, "Enabling 120Hz on the Xbox Series X and S is a minor patch, but enabling it on PS5 requires a full native port due to how backward compatibility is implemented on the console." It is worth noting that the Series X and PS5 owners will still only be playing a last-gen version of Cyberpunk 2077. The next-gen upgrades, which will implement ray tracing, is expected to arrive sometime in 2021 and will be free to those who have already bought the Xbox One or PS4 version of the game. So again, I want to make it very clear. I think that PS5 is going to be getting this support. I think you will be able to see a toggle between performance and resolution, but it might not come until the next gen version of the game launches, or it might not come until a couple of weeks after launch. The timeline right now for new features coming to Cyberpunk is very up in the air. Now I'm looking forward to it. I've got the game pre-ordered, it is shipped, it's on the way from Amazon. Cannot wait to dive in tomorrow. But with that being taken into account, again, you are going to be seeing some issues, you are going to be seeing missing features, you are going to be seeing glitches. That's just the nature of the beast. The fact that Cyberpunk 2077 is coming out at all during this pandemic-ridden year is pretty impressive for me, and I'm still looking forward to the game. But that rounds out today's episode of the Jampack Report. If you enjoyed today's show, drop me a like down below and let me know what you think about everything we talked about here today, but specifically Halo Infinite. What do you think? Are you excited for it? How do you feel about these screenshots? Would love to hear what you have to say. But until tomorrow, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon, and peace.